What's up, everybody? Happy Labor Day. How y'all doing today? I hope you're well. If you're working today, especially if you're in the public service, emergency services, police, fire, rescue, EMS, everybody stay safe today. And thank you to all our military. So, we got a vlog for you today. I got kind of a doozy for you. If you didn't know or may have heard, there was an incident at Magic Kindom on Friday night, and it wasn't good. I will tell you that. If you're not familiar with what happened, or just don't follow the Disney news, what happened was there was a fight that broke out at Magic Kindom after the fireworks, and then after that happened, supposedly a balloon popped, which then caused mass chaos because a couple of overzealous people freaked out and thought it was a pew-pew. I gotta be careful what I say because YouTube flags these things, the three-letter G word. Somebody or a group of people or something happened where they yelled that out, or they said there's a you-know-what, a pew-pew. But that's what started it. Now, what is not clear is how this all went down. Was the balloon near the people that were fighting, and that's what happened, and somebody thought that somebody pulled a weapon? How did this all go down? That's where the details are kind of scarce. Okay, my question is, all of this was going down on Main Street, right? The video footage of this seems to put it out by the monorail station. So, when you arrive on scene, as a firefighter or medic, or even a police officer, when you arrive on scene, the first thing you do is take a look around and just take in what you got going on. And when I was reading these details, I'm like, wait a minute. All of the craziness was happening on Main Street, but the fight was outside. So what the heck really happened? Did word of the fight get into the Magic Kindom and then a balloon popped and created chaos there? Did it start in the entryway and then it filtered back into the Magic Kindom? That we're not sure of. Nobody really knows. Again, Disney, the one thing it drives me nuts with them is they do not come out and just say, here's what happened. And this is how you get all these theories. When you don't tell people anything and you just leave them up to guess, this is where all of this stuff comes from. Right away, what should have happened is Disney should have used the public address system. Once they realized what was going on, I get it. You don't want to break the magic, but this is not the time for that. This is a time for lowering the temperature, bringing things down a bit. Use that public address system. Hell, they used it during the chaos of 2020 and on. They had that message running every 5 minutes about keep your face diaper on and don't stand too close to each other and all this other stuff. That ran constantly. So they can run that, but you can't tell people hey, calm down, there is no active threat. Basically, Orange County had to come out and put a notice on Facebook saying there is no active threat, because nobody was putting anything out there. Every word got out very fast, and you know how this goes. A rumor hits the internet, boom, it's like gasoline on a fire. It just ignites this huge firestorm, and that's what happened. So what I thought we would do today is kind of talk about this. How I'm doing this is we're doing the intro here, and then we'll do the exit part here at home. And then the middle of this, we're going to go out to the Magic Kindom, and we're going to walk around. I'm going to kind of show you how Magic Kindom's laid out, show you where everything happened, and kind of give my take on what you need to do, one, to keep yourself, your family safe, or just yourself if you're alone. Also, where is the best place to stand for these parades and fireworks shows, especially the fireworks? The fireworks is absolutely, without a doubt, as an emergency responder, and as a medic that works within the Disney area, the fireworks are the absolute most tense time every night there, because if you've ever been, you know how much they jam people into that hub and into Main Street. There's no room to move. And my fear has always been is that you get something that sounds like a GSW or a bang, and whether it be a balloon or a speaker popping is even worse. That sounds very close to that. Speaker popping during the middle of the fireworks show, and with everybody walking around as unhinged as they are a lot of times, that would be a complete disaster. Thank goodness the fireworks were over. People were leaving Magic Kingdom, so it wasn't as bad as it had the potential to be, but still, Disney left out a lot of details. You know, they said there was no injuries. Apparently there was a lot of injuries. There was a lot of people transported to the hospital. They left that part out. When I go out there, we'll sit there and talk about everything. But that's what I thought we would do today. Not the most exciting vlog, I know, but this is something that needs to be talked about. Some other channels have covered this. I'm covering it from the perspective of somebody that's been in the fire service for almost 20 years. And that's got, you know, experience with big crowds and experience with when things kind of don't go as planned. Let's put it that way. And I'm going to talk about, when I get out there, what went wrong, what they should have done, and what they could do in the future. They should look at this. If they don't, they're idiots, because this is something that should have woken up the entire amusement park industry around Central Florida. You know, it just shows that I don't think anybody is quite ready for this. I will say this, having worked at Universal for a while, they have their shit down pat. A lot of my training when I was out there was, you know, what to do in case, you know, there would be a mass panic. You know, they do have a better structure in place. You know, Disney and that, and unfortunately SeaWorld, not so much. You know, and one of the other things I want to talk about is what you need to know as a guest. You need to start being able to help yourself. And I hate to say that, but in the current time when everything is unbelievably short-staffed, not only the staffing at these theme parks, but also the emergency services staffs, the fire departments all over the place are running on next to nothing. I mean, people, they are so short. Everybody's short. And it might be a while before somebody gets to you. So you've got to be able to hold your own. And, you know, we'll talk about that too. You know, and I get it. Nobody wants to think like that, but it's necessary. You have to know this stuff, people. I'm not even playing around when I say that. You should know basic life-saving skills or basic treatments, basic skills. Nothing advanced. Don't expect anybody to, know what a paramedic, nurse, or a doctor does, but you should know the basics. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's head out to Magic Kingdom and let's talk about this. I'll see you when we get back. Welcome to Main Street, USA, everybody. This is where we're gonna start this vlog at, all right? If you've never been to Disney, Main Street has two ways that branches off when you come in. You have left, and then you have right over there. And then you enter in through these tunnels back here, which is right over that way, and then the train station, which is right up here. One of the biggest challenges to Magic Kingdom is the central corridor, which is Main Street. I've said before that this has the potential to cause a lot of issues because of the bottlenecks. Disney's a big fan of bottlenecks. They love bottlenecks. This right here is the main way in and out. You can see how people are kind of coming in from both sides. So you go down Main Street towards Cinderella Castle, and then you have the hub, and then it spokes out to all the different lands. We'll see all of this. I'm going to show you all of this, and I'm also going to show you what to do and where to go if you decide to do the Happily Ever After fireworks, because personally that's the most dangerous time here, and I'm not sugarcoating it. That's just how I feel. That's my years of firefighting and dealing with crowd management and that. The way Disney packs this area every single night,
is very dangerous. And thank God this incident that happened after the fireworks and not during them. Okay? Because honestly, I'm not kidding when I say this. From the castle all the way down this street and then all the way throughout here where I'm standing, you cannot hardly move through any of this. It's all shoulder to shoulder. And if an incident like what happened the other night would have happened during the middle of fireworks, you have all these people that are going to be shoved into this bottleneck right here. And what's really frightening is how fast word traveled, and it went everywhere. It was on every social media site. It got to the point where the Orange County Sheriff's Office had to put out a statement that said there is no active shooter, because that's exactly what happened. Somebody set off basically a firestorm or a small group of people. The trouble is when you have a giant crowd like this, all it takes is one or two people to incite a mass panic. And Orange County did put out a statement that said there is no active shooter at Magic Kingdom. But if you look at the articles, if you just type into Google chaos Magic Kingdom, it comes up as, you know, potential active shooter at Magic Kingdom, gun scare at Magic Kingdom, gun scare causes chaos at Magic Kingdom. I mean, it's everywhere. And the thing is one, it didn't have to be that way. Two, there were a lot more people that were injured than what was reported. They were reported that no injuries happened. There was a whole lot more that happened. The one thing that I want to point out, first off, that was in that video, one thing that couldn't help but notice is there were strollers left behind. There were even ECVs that were overturned. I'm sorry, but to overturn an ECV, that's a stampede. Somebody hit that. The biggest issue that you have at Magic Kingdom, as far as, you know, that's to me even worse than the crowds, are the obstacles. Because this is one of the few parks that everybody did, well, actually all the Disney parks are like this, but Magic Kingdom especially, from kids all the way to adults, you know, kids even upwards of 12 years old are being pushed around in strollers, and adults are rolling around on ECVs. What you're not familiar with are the electric scooters. And those are some of the worst obstacles around, because in a mass panic, when you got a stampede, those are tripping hazards. People that are on them could get rolled over on it. I mean, could get, you know, I hate to say it, but if a person that's on a scooter that's 400 pounds and you got a mob heading at them, they're sitting duck. They're not, what are they going to do? You know, I mean, these are all things that people don't think about before going on these trips. And I get it. You're on vacation. Nobody wants to worry about this stuff. But the reality is you have to. I've been saying for a long time, my biggest concern is something sets off a mass panic during these fireworks when this hub is completely jam-packed. And again, thank God it was after the fireworks. It wasn't during. But if you think a balloon popping, like people these days don't even realize the difference between a balloon pop and a gunshot. Anybody that's ever fired a gun or has heard a gun, it has a distinct sound. A balloon sounds nothing like it. My biggest concern, honestly, when this hub is jam-packed with people watching fireworks, right there is one of those speakers popping. A speaker pop that's amplified, that's going to sound like a pew-pew. You gotta be careful what I say, because otherwise YouTube will flag this video, which is sad. But if you ever heard a speaker let go or a speaker pop, it sounds like the pew-pew sound. And again, all it takes is a few people to absolutely lose their shit in a giant crowd, and it'll set off a firestorm. So apparently, again, there's really nowhere of knowing yet where this balloon popped at, supposedly. But wherever the chaos was, it was clearly in this area along Main Street. It was right in this bottleneck here. Wherever it happened somewhere in this area, because this is where all of the carnage was. And I say that because that's what it looked like. It looked like the aftermath of something awful. This is where the other footage was coming from, was right in here. This is the Emporium gift shop. This is the big gift shop. It's all interconnected, and it goes all the way to the front of the park. But as people were walking through here, it looked like a tornado rolled through here. There was bubble wands all over the ground. There was merchandise on the ground. Again, more strollers were left overturned. If Disney hasn't memory holed it yet and I can find it, I'll put it in. this whole area through here was completely empty. And then in this area over here, you could see a Disney security guard crouching behind a bunch of guests, which was over in this area. You can see just as I'm walking through here, it's just the amount of scooters and strollers being pushed around. Like I said, these things are obstacles and something like that. But they had a bunch of people crouched down in this area. And that was, to me, one of the other big mistakes that was made, is they were telling people to get down. They didn't know what was going on yet. So one, the error was made by the people that panicked, and two, the other error was made by the security guards just completely losing their cool and not taking a minute and taking a deep breath and like, what do we got going on here before we start doing stuff? And the other thing I felt that they could have done is Disney has a public address system. They could have easily opened that up and said, we need everybody to calm down. There's no pew-pew. And everybody needs to freaking, obviously they can't say it like that, but basically they need to calm everybody down and restore order, because it was chaos. And again, just walking down Main Street like that, you can see the sheer amount of ECVs, electric scooters, that are around. And I'm sorry, I don't want to be mean by saying this, but the people that are riding them in a situation like that, they're in trouble. And the ones that have those kids riding on it like that, you're sitting ducks, because there's no way they're going to be able to get out of the way. And on top of that, they're obstacles for the crowd. That's why when you walk down this the other night, there were all these ECVs overturned. From what I understand, they transported quite a few people to the hospital. The other issue, what I heard from Reedy Creek Fire Department, is they only responded one engine to this incident. And they had trouble gaining access because, from what the firemen said, Disney has these things called bomb doors, and they activated those, which seals off a lot of the exits, and the fire department couldn't get in. And they were having a hard time accessing this place. On top of that, they only sent one engine crew with 3 people to start off with. So here you have a humongous incident happening, and you've got 3 firemen showing up. Now, if somebody watches this and you're from Reedy Creek and you have a different variation, get a hold of me or send me a message in the comments. But I'm just telling you, this is what I have heard directly from one of the firefighters. So they had a lot of people. They basically issued a mass casualty incident, and what that means is if you have an incident with more than 5 potential people that are going to need medical help, you issue what's called a mass casualty. And then you get a pretty big response. It took a while to clear it up. One of the other unique things about these shops and Main Street, I learned this from my Keys to the Kingdom tour. A lot of times when you see doors like this, some of these doors like this one lead straight down into the utilidors. I'm not sure which ones, but they did point that out when we were touring down there, because you could see the signage, and one of them would say, stairway to Magic Kindom Emporium gift shop. It's pretty cool. But apparently what happened is somebody decided it was a good idea to usher all the guests down into the Emporium, down into the utilidors, which is why there was nobody around. They were all down below underneath the ground. Just really, really big failures on all accounts. And it was said that nobody knew what to do. That was made clear. And from what I understand is the cast members only get about a half hour, 45 minutes of training on this kind of stuff. So thank goodness that nothing happened. Nothing bad happened. I mean, nobody died. Thank goodness. But it's definitely a lesson learned that Disney and all the theme parks in the Central Florida area should take note that this can happen at any time, and any little thing can set it off. The people that were here that night, pretty much all it took was a few people to say there was a pew-pew, and it set off a mass panic. incident at Trump's speech when Trump actually got shot, if you notice, not a person moved. Nobody moved. Because even President Trump commented, he said usually when that happens, and there was an active shooter in that situation, I mean, his ear got shot, not one person moved. Everybody stayed still. And obviously that mitigated a whole disaster. But the same thing didn't happen the other night. Everybody completely panicked. So it's very interesting on how different people in different environments react. This is one area right here on Main Street. This is the Emporium on this side over here. This is what they call Center Street. I learned this from my my tour back in April. Back here, there's a big door back here. This leads to what they call backstage, back of house. There's big doors through there. They can get people out through there if need be. That goes straight back to a parking lot and right behind Magic Kingdom. What used to be was where you see the Emporium right there, that used to be a street just like this one. But they needed to expand Emporium. They needed some more space. And so what they did is they connected the Emporium and took out the street on that side and left this one. But I believe there is a set of doors in the back side of the Emporium that are just like this that will lead to the back of house. So this right here is the Magic Kindom Hub. This is the area you want to avoid at all costs during fireworks. The only benefit to being here is you can see the projections on the castle, but that's about it. And we're gonna walk up towards the castle and I'm gonna show you where a lot of people stand, but to be perfectly honest, it's probably the worst place to stand. The other thing that the cast will do is, as the hub is filling in, they'll keep an open walkway kind of where I'm walking right in this area. And then about 15 minutes before the show, they'll tell everybody to fill in so everything fills in. There is nowhere to go once that happens. And so what ends up happening is where all of these people are taking photos up here, right here, a lot of people will try to go right up this way, which will get you an amazing view of the castle with the projections. But if an incident like Friday night happens, usually what's going to happen, there's going to be a crowd surge and it's going to push forward. And where are you going to go? Right into that wall. That wall is about 6.5, 7 feet tall almost. There's nowhere to go. You are going to be pinned up against that wall. There's walls here and there's walls on that side. The only way out is back the way you came in. But again, you got to think, when shit goes bad, people don't think rationally. That is one of the biggest faults of everybody these days, is nobody has the capacity to think rationally. It's just instantaneous reactions. And when they do that, that's what gets people injured. The event itself is usually not what gets people injured or killed. It's the reaction of everybody. That's where the problems come in. So I'm going to show you one of the best places to be at for these fireworks. Actually, there's two. But right here is the walkway straight to Tomorrowland. This is probably one of the biggest walkways towards one of the larger areas, unobstructed areas of the park. There's the castle right here. If you can get one of these views from this area or anywhere back in this area, preferably right along this bridge, the only thing that is going to be kind of obstructed is the castle from the trees, but you're still going to see all the fireworks. Okay, these walkways here will be open, but they'll be extremely narrow. And again, you got to think, you got fencing on both sides that's about 4.5 feet tall. So what you want to do is position yourself kind of out in the open. Don't put yourself up against the fences, you know, right in here. Or even you could kind of go over this way, because they do allow people to stand over this way, which you can see some of the castle right through here. You can still get an amazing fireworks view. And you can kind of stand from here. And you can, if you can do it, watch where the tape lines are. you can kind of stand all the way up to right in here. And if you can get here, this is a great view as well. The benefit about this spot here is if something happened, like what happened the other night, you now have a direct access right out to Tomorrowland. And every time I'm in a large crowd, no matter where I'm at, I have a plan. If something goes south, we're going this direction, and we're gonna keep going. We're gonna go, say, to a certain point, and then we'll reconvene. But you have to have a plan. It's very similar to fire prevention. You know, when the firemen come to your schools, or they just do community presentations about, you know, how to do fire prevention, and having a family meeting about, you know, where to go if in case there was ever a fire in your home. Have that meeting spot outside of the home in case, you know, you get separated. It's very similar to being in a theme park. What you do is, it doesn't take much to look at these parks maps. You can find these park maps everywhere. They're online. You can grab them at the front, and all it takes is a quick moment of, hey, let's grab a map, let's walk the park, because everybody likes to walk the park, see what everything looks like. Let's just take a minute and see, you know, if something goes south and we're in this location, we can get out of here. Or you can do it before your trip. Pull up the park map. Now, granted, things tend to look a lot differently than they do, you know, when looking at a map versus being there in person, but it's still the same idea. Take a look at where you're going to be at and where some of the quick exits are and where to go, and have a meeting point. Or if you're in a big group, hey, we're separated. If something goes down, we're going to meet at this place. And then make sure everybody's on the same page. People, I know this is not part of the vacation fund, but it's absolutely necessary. This has to be done. If you want to have a good time and you want to not stress, you've got to really do this. And then if something does go down, fellas, I'm looking at you and I'm calling on you. You got to get your shit together, man. You're the leaders of the group. You're the ones everybody's looking to. Take time, educate yourself, and take good care of your family. Take care of whoever's with you. And if it's by yourself, keep an eye out for everybody else. Make sure they're getting to safety. The hardest thing is having a whole group of people that's losing their minds, and then it just is a chain reaction. I cannot stand to see it when there's a bunch of dudes and they're all losing their shit. That drives me up the freaking wall. Guys, we are supposed to be the protectors, and I'm not saying, ladies, you can't do the same thing, but damn it, it's up to us to protect everybody. That's what we do. That's who we are. You know, I'm just tired of all of this stuff. You know, you look at a lot of things lately. You see a group of people, and it's the woman doing everything, you know? God damn it, guys. Let's stop all that shit, man. Let's be the ones that are gonna be the protectors here. I'm telling you, the fireworks approach, watch them from exactly where I told you to, and you're gonna have no problem, okay? Because I promise you, if you find yourself sandwiched in that crowd, most people don't like that. It is a very uncomfortable feeling. I really don't mind crowds, but I cannot stand being sandwiched in like that. It's very uncomfortable, because I'm not concerned about me. I can handle myself in a large crowd. I'm worried about everybody else, because everybody else cannot, as what was proven the other night. Even the cast members couldn't do it. You know, the cast members lost their minds. You know, so again, what I was saying earlier is you have to be able to kind of hold your own for a while. And that even means, you know, finding a local first aid class somewhere, taking the time to educate yourself, knowing how to perform basic first aid. People, I know this sounds far-fetched, but it's really not. I'm in the emergency services. I have been for almost 20 years. Things have never been more short-staffed ever than they are right now. I'm telling you, if you need help, it may be a while before it gets to you, as was shown by the other night. It took forever to get help here. You know, and the first arriving engine only had 3 people on it. What's 3 people going to do up against 10,000, 15,000 people? You know, I mean, it's just, these are things that you have to constantly think about. And again, not drive yourself crazy about it, but you just got to have it in the back of your mind. Have a backup plan. be aware of everything and know how to do basic first aid. But I will say this though, like I said earlier, the biggest obstacle in these mass panic situations, especially at Disney, are all of the wheeled vehicles, because there's so many of them. Those are probably the biggest problem, because they're just giant obstructions. And I'm telling you, those people, you know, if they get knocked over, I mean, think about it. I'm just going to say it. If a 400 pound person gets knocked over on a scooter, now you think they're getting up? Absolutely not. Now they're getting trampled on. People are tripping over them. People are tripping over. You see the cascading effect that can have. Y'all, I'm just saying, you need to be aware of everything around you. Have a good time, enjoy your vacation, but always be aware. And again, not just here, all over the place, even if you travel internationally. Even when you're flying on an airplane, I pick up that damn card that shows you how to get out of the airplane. Hey, I want to know how to get out of here. If I need to get myself out of that plane, I'm gonna look and see how to do it. It's just basic common sense. But again, I hope y'all are getting something out of this. I'm not poking fun at people. I'm just being honest. This is about as straightforward as I can get. You know, sometimes when you need to drive a point home, you got to be blunt about it. That's just how it feels. Because the one thing that I've always noticed, not one theme park vlogger, not one Disney vlogger, not one live streamer ever covers anything like this. Not a one. Yeah. So here I am, as we're walking down Main Street. Look at all the potential obstructions. Look at the wheeled vehicles. Just look around. And the other thing you have to really watch for on Main Street is right here. These railroad tracks, these things will roll about 1,500 ankles a year. You know, again, even when people aren't stampeding, I mean, these things right here, if you're not watching where you're going, all it takes is one wrong step into that track, and now you're going to spend the rest of your vacation in an ankle brace. Oh, the one thing that I absolutely cannot stress enough is, if you see something go down, don't do what Donnie Don't does. As Bart Simpson's instruction manual would say. No, don't do what everybody else is doing. Don't freaking panic. Take a moment, look around, see what's going on, and go the opposite direction. Wherever everybody else is going, don't go that way. And for the love of everything, please, please, please don't get on the ground. That is the worst possible thing you can do. And you'd be like, Matt, why? That makes most sense. Because when you're down there, you're now defenseless. Think about some people, if they get on the ground, think about how long it takes them to get up. I mean, just realistically, you're a sitting duck down there. You got to stay on your feet. And again, take a deep breath. Relax. I know that's easier said than done. Trust me on this. But if you do what everybody else is doing, the same things are going to happen as the other night. People are going to wind up going to the hospital because of trampling injuries. So this is up by the monorail station. There were actually videos and pictures of people up here in the grass up here. So supposedly this is where the incident was. But again, how does an incident happen out here and make its way into the main central hub? That's the question I have. So again, my just observation, I think what happened is maybe there was rumor that there was a fight outside, and then it worked its way in to the Magic Kingdom, and then all of a sudden a balloon blew up, and then that's what created the mass hysteria. So the one thing I can definitely say, when you're enjoying anything on Main Street, stay out of the central corridor. If you're watching a parade or fireworks, that's the big bottleneck. You want to stay out of the corridor. You want to be in the wide open areas to watch. See, we're going to go past an exit out of Magic Kingdom, one of the many that they could have used to get people out safely. See, right here, that's a major area of exit from the Magic Kingdom. They could have used that. There's one behind Space Mountain over here. There's all kinds of places that they could have used to get people out safely. But instead of taking them all the way to the utilidors, that to me was a bad idea. Because now, if the, gosh, you know, forbid the person mix themselves in with the crowd and they get themselves into the utilidors, you just put everybody in one place. It's like fish in a barrel.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, I hope you got something out of that. As you can see on the monorail ride back to the parking lot, there's a lot of places that they can move people, you know, in the event of something going down like that. I will say this forever, basically. The fact that they moved everybody down in these large groups into the utilidors, that coupled with telling people to get down on the ground was probably the two biggest errors that I think they could have made. One, as I've said before, you get that many people downstairs in the tunnels. I've been down there one time for the Keys to the Kingdom tour. If you go back to my vlog from April, I talk all about it. It was a fantastic tour. But I could not imagine 5,000 or 10,000 people down there. You talk about a confined space, and if the person causing the trouble blends in with the crowd and they get that person down there in those tunnels with all those people, think about what would happen. You know, the first thing in mitigating any disaster is, one, you've got to get control of the crowd. That is your absolute number one. Get control of everybody, get them to safety, and then, you know, the others, you know, the people that are trained are going to have to try to find the threat. But please, people, do not go crouching down, laying down. You are making yourself an easy target. And I know they have the run, hide, fight thing. I get that. But the whole getting down on the ground and then the cast members telling people to get down, that was even worse, because now when you got employees saying, get down, get down, I mean, what are you going to think as a guest? You know, and people already are on edge most of the time. And so it didn't help as far as lowering the temperature. You know, what they should have done, and apparently what Disney used to be very good at, and this was verified again prior to 2020, 2020 screwed up everything. I will say that till the end of time. 2020 messed up everything. And the thing it messed up the biggest was how everything is staffed. Prior to 2020, Disney was on point. If something were to go bad, they even would talk about how they can empty out Magic Kingdom. If a threat were to happen, they can empty out Magic Kingdom in less than 10 minutes. They have the ability to do that. That's why all those exits that are hidden conveniently exist. They can get people out of there. And so they didn't do that this time because so many of their workers are brand new. All the people that had the experience left when they fired half their staff after the parks reopened in 2020. You know, so a lot of people that are working there now don't have the experience, and the training isn't there. They've even admitted, I've talked to cast members, they said we maybe get like 15, 20, 30 minutes on this stuff, and that's it. So they clearly don't know what's going on. And also, not to add insult to injury, but I have witnessed the fact that these cast members really don't know what to do in emergencies, because I was at Typhoon Lagoon on Memorial Day weekend when they had their first H2O glow nights, and I was watching people come out of the Crush Gusher slide, because the one that's like a water coaster, and it's kind of fun because you can stand there in a pool and watch people come out of that slide, and some of the ways people come out is kind of funny. And so watching people come out of there were two separate incidents where the individuals had at some point in that slide gotten bounced off their tube and came out either before or after the tube. And one individual was holding her head and her arm, like she was walking out, like she looked to be in a lot of pain. And the lifeguard was yelling at her to get out of the water. And the girl said, I think I'm hurt. And the lifeguard said, you got to get out of the water. She didn't get in the water to go see if she was okay. She didn't do anything. She just stayed there. And the poor woman walked off holding her head in her arm. Now I'm hoping she was all right, but it looked like she had a pretty good mark on her arm, and it looked like she had banged her head pretty hard at some point. Something that should have been done. The lifeguard should have stepped in and performed some kind of, just a general wellness check to make sure she's okay. But that didn't happen. And then not long after that, the same thing happened again, and somebody else came out holding their arm this time. And same thing, they were crouched over, like, you can tell when people are in pain. And the lifeguard said, yelling, "You got to get out of the water! You got to get out of the water!" So twice didn't do anything to even check on these people. As a former lifeguard, I would not let that go. I would be in there checking on these people. And what sucks is the way Disney is structured is even me as a paramedic, I'm off duty. I can't help these people. I tried that once 2 summers ago at Magic Kingdom. A guy fell to the ground right in front of me. It was right in the middle of August. The guy got overheated and he just fell straight to the ground. And, I know what to do in that situation, so I went over to try to help him. I was getting info from his family. Basically, I was going to have all the info needed for when the paramedics got there. I was going to give them an easy transfer report and explain everything what happened. Long story short, I wanted to make it an easy transfer of care. I wanted to keep the guy's airway open, and I wanted to know, a little bit of his medical history, if he's taking any new medications, if he hit his head, does he take blood thinners, does he, is he diabetic, all of that stuff. And as I was just starting to help this gentleman, I got shooed away by Disney cast members. I don't know who they were, but they were management or something, but they literally got upset that I was there and told me I had to leave the patient alone, and I couldn't touch the patient. So I had to leave. And I want to tell you, that's hard to do, man. And even the family was looking like, why can't he stay and help? Granted, I don't have any equipment with me, but again, I know the basics, just like we talked about earlier. Keep the airway open, make sure they got a good pulse, make sure they're breathing, just the basics till people that have the equipment get there and can actually render some assistance and interventions. So yeah, I got shooed away for that. And ever since then, I'm really, I'm not going to really go up and help people. Now, if something major happened, if somebody actually collapsed again like that, yeah, and I needed to do something that would be life-saving, absolutely. I mean, they can throw me out of the park later, discipline, whatever they're going to do it, but I'm not going to just stand there. But people that, are walking around injured, you can't really intervene because they don't want you messing with the people. And I understand that. You don't want some rescue Randy out there running around everybody. You okay? You okay? You know. But your job as a lifeguard, you got to keep an eye out for people. And if somebody looks hurt, go check on them. That's what you're there to do. But unfortunately, they put them through this training so fast. And most of these kids have no clue what they're doing. I hate to say that, but they don't. I remember me as a rescuer, for me, nothing can prepare you for that first time you really got to do something. Nothing. And with the way their training is, everything's done on simulated mannequins and it's all orderly and all this other stuff. And in the real world, it just don't happen like that. And so, when you have medical emergencies, they're all just I think they're more like deer in the headlights. So that's why I say you have to know how to manage yourself, because unfortunately you can't always depend on somebody else helping you. I hate saying that, but that's just how it is now. And that's even outside of the theme parks. Even if you're out and about somewhere, you got to be able to take care of yourself for a little while, because it might be a while before help's going to get to you. It's sad to even say that, but it's the truth. So I hope you all got something out of this. Again, if you're going on vacation, make sure you have a plan. Take a look at the place you're going to, know where you're going to get out, and know what you're going to do in case something like Friday night goes down. Just like at hotels. Anytime I stay at a hotel or resort, I take a few minutes and I look at the fire exit plan, just in case. You never know. Okay? Same thing. If you have a family, you're all staying at a hotel. Let's say they got to evacuate the hotel for whatever reason, and half the family's at the pool, the other half's eating, and some people upstairs watching football on TV or chilling out. You know, and they got to get everybody out of the hotel. Have a place where you're going to meet up. Just say, hey, if something goes down, we're going to meet here. We're going to get everybody together. But the biggest thing, and I'm going to say it over and over and over again, people, for the love of everything that is holy, don't panic. You've got to keep yourself together, okay? You've got to keep it together, because panic will get people killed. It does every single time. As I've said before, I've said it in the park, most of these incidents, like Friday, were non-incidences. It's the response by people, and by people that are untrained, that cause these injuries. So I know it's easier said than done, but you have to take a few seconds and just collect yourself. If you're in a group as a family, guys, you got to take the lead on this. You got to get everybody together and just take a deep breath and look around you real quick, okay? And I'm going to tell you, if you see a mob going one direction, go the other direction, because I'm telling you, you do not want to get in these mobs. Magic Kingdom and the Disney parks are a specific situation in the fact that they have all of these strollers and electric scooters everywhere, and those things alone are hazards. They really are. They're obstacles. Think about the crowds, you know, when they do the fireworks. Think about how tightly packed they put people in there. Now, all the people on electric scooters and wheelchairs, I'm sorry, but they're obstacles, you know. And parents, the other thing that I cannot stand is when I saw it today. You see two parents riding in electric scooters and the kids walking right beside them. Now, take an event that happened the other night. What are they going to do? How are they going to protect their kid? You know, you now are becoming part of the problem. And I really, really wish, I said it before, and we're going to have another vlog on this where I dedicate it to this. I really wish Disney would start cracking down on the amount of wheeled vehicles that are allowed inside their parks. Universal's done it. SeaWorld's strict with it. They're not Universal strict, but they still try to keep it to a minimum. And, you know, Disney really needs to take a look at this, because it is a problem. And I know some of these people might come at me and go, oh, Matt, the people need those. No, they don't. They really don't. If people would put in the effort, the same effort that they put into waiting hours in line for a popcorn bucket, or waiting hours in line, or doing whatever for any time Disney releases something, or when a new attraction opens up and people wait, like last September when the new Figment meet and greet came out and people waited 8.5 hours to see Figment. If people can do that, they can dedicate the time to better their lives. Just being open and honest about it. That's how I feel. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I talk from experience. I got very heavy at one point in my life. I was cresting almost to 270. I hated myself at that point. I didn't hate myself because I didn't have any confidence. I hated myself because I felt awful. Everything hurt. I was miserable. And I didn't want to be like that anymore. And I made the changes. And I still am making changes. But I just am so tired of this victimhood mentality that, oh, I can't do it, so therefore I'm not going to do it. That's such horse shit. You got to be able to, take care of yourself and others. And what good are you going to be if you get swept up in that mob? And clearly there were, that one electric scooter that was on its side. I mean, I hope that person's okay. I mean, supposedly nobody died during this. Thank goodness. They're very lucky on that one. But you got all these people running around with medical conditions and everything else going on, and then of course I can't imagine how many panic attacks came out of that, because again, everybody's just walking around just unhinged. And if you want to hear me talk about panic attacks and anxiety, look at my vlog I did a couple of weeks ago on that. I think you might get a lot of good stuff out of that. I hope you all learned something from this. If you have any questions, or again, as I've mentioned before, if you were there and you were a part of this thing, please send me a message in the comments. I'll send you an email or something. You can get a hold of me and correspond and I can add that in, or however you want. You can even remain anonymous, whatever you'd like to do. Or if anybody follows this, it's another Reedy Creek firefighter that was there. That's a different story than the one I already got. Please, anything. Again, like I said, I'm just sharing what I know, what I've heard, and what's been posted out there. This is, again, why it's important to get your facts out there so people don't do this, you know. And I'm not saying that it's bad to do this, but, you know, when it comes to incidents like this, I want to get some information out so, again, we can help people. It's a learning experience. You know, everybody got lucky. Nobody got seriously hurt that we know of. And it's ways to improve for the next time. But if you just cover it up and try to ignore it, guess what? It's going to happen again. And the next time, people may not be so lucky. And I'm sorry, but you get somebody that gets killed during something like that, especially if it was something for a balloon popping, that's a lot of money that they're going to shell out for that. And then just the other things that go along with it, you know. So anyway, thanks again for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. Have a fantastic night. Hope you had a great weekend. I will see you all later this week. Main Street Fire Rescue's out of service. See ya. It's been the truth and it's been actual. And I hope you all learned something.